All right, sounds like you're all getting about close to being ready. So it looks like next up, we're going to have MrJerkyJerky and Xenoras doing some Celeste.
Hello, folks. Welcome to Bingo, Celeste Bingo. I'm Xenoras, playing versus MrJerkyJerky in a wonderful speedrun format called Bingo. In case you don't know, it's all about getting 13 objectives on the board, but we have two wonderful commentators who will explain everything in detail to you, which is Profnian and Gus.
Hello there.
And
hi.
I will just give it over to them, or first to Jerky if he wants to say anything. And I guess then we are ready to start.
No, the only thing we need is the file names.
Oh, yeah.
While you guys get that set up, maybe we should discuss a little bit about Celeste and Lockout Bingo really briefly here. So for those of you in chat who have not seen Celeste before, the movement engine in it is really focused around just a dash and a jump and how you combine those to get lots of different speed or height options to get through levels really quickly. Now for Lockout Bingo, they have a board randomly generated from like 300 objectives or so. And when they see the board, as soon as they start here, they will be going first to 13. And if somebody takes off an objective, the other player can no longer get it. So there's going to be a lot of strategy related to locking each other out or hiding things throughout the course of the match. I'd say that's a decent intro for Lockout Bingo here. And if you guys have your languages set up and file names, we should be ready to go pretty soon.
Well, what are the ones that made it?
Do we have the file name, or what were the incentives for Celeste and where they met?
All right, it was, and it looks like for the first one, for the file name Bid War, we have a winner for Warning No.
Warning
and it looks
No?
like, sorry?
No, just go on.
For the language Bid War, it looks like Russian was the winner.
Okay, so let's do the file name first. Warning No? Just like that. Okay, and a Russian.
Hopefully I'm on Russian. I was having a problem with trying to find my language menu was a bit goofed.
Looks alright.
That is true. The board's looking kind of small. I don't know if we are able to fix that at the moment. If not, though, I guess we could still just try and get going. I'm not sure. It's practically too tiny to read objectives for the audience. If there's any way we could fix that before... Oh, keep going? Okay, understood. They got it under control. Glad to hear it. All right.
All right.
So you guys think you're ready to get deafened and then get this show on the road?
Yep, we'll hop out.
Have fun, everybody.
Right. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck, Jerky and Xena.
Good luck.
All right, so we will start the countdown for the players to reveal the board now.
You got it, Gus?
Yeah.
All right. Now we have countdown from 5 to start here.
And that's
So
where
on your
the
countdown.
that's where the timer starts as well.
You got it, Gus?
Yeah, and let's go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go.
All right. So let's make sure we're watching the Discord stream here so we can see what's going on with the players.
Mhm.
Okay, so a quick explanation for how thing works in Prologue here. Since they've just revealed the board, they will be spending Prologue just hopping along and reading the board for the objectives. The reason that you can't skip cutscenes in Prologue is specifically so you can strategize a little bit more during that time. So looking at the board here, some of the things that we're seeing immediately. What do you think is one of like the earliest objectives they got going on here, Gus?
Well, obviously they're gonna try to look. I could see them looking for a early 1-up for 1A2A since 1-up in 2 chapters is an objective that is an option. And I could also see them going for some quick berries to start stacking up for the 25.
Yeah, they got 25 and 40, so they'll
Yeah.
probably try and get some of the fast ones along the way. Are there any winged objectives? I don't think I saw anything.
No, I don't think there are any. There are some binos, so they're gonna be looking for some binos for sure, and also some cassettes, which we might end up seeing some cool B-sides here, which would be interesting.
So just a quick explanation of the things we're talking about. There are a lot of collectibles in Celeste, including different things like strawberries, where if you have, excuse me, a chain of 6 strawberries at once and you collect them all at the same time, then you can get what is called a 1-up. There are also the cassettes and the hearts in Celeste. The blue hearts, which you'll find in the main levels, are usually based off of secrets, but they will know how to find those. And then you also have cassettes, which unlock the B-side levels. So those are different collectibles they'll be needing to get throughout the course of this match here to unlock some B-sides. Now, coming in here, they're just rushing through city. They've each collected a couple berries along the way, but I don't think either of them are stopping for a 1-up.
No, it doesn't look like it.
What would be the first thing? I don't think they have much reason to stop for city cassette, so you're probably right on the start. They just want to get some early berries here.
Yeah, some early, like really quick ones for sure.
They're just kind of speeding along through city here. Earliest objectives. Yeah, no, there's not too much right off the bat aside from potentially going for 1-up in 2 chapters or 25 berries with just early pickups. So this seems like it's more of a late game board that we got going on for us here.
Yeah, definitely a mid to late game board for sure.
Discussion of... Oh yeah, there's also something important to mention here. For the bingo layout specifically for Celeste, there is a mod that we use that kind of facilitates playing bingo, and it includes an assist skip, which allows them to skip the entirety of one level and only one. So they get to pick which level they would like to use that for if they feel that it has too few objectives and want to progress further than that. And usually the skip ends up being in Resort, but there's a chance for it to be in Ridge or in Mirror Temple, which are chapters 4 and 5, Resort being chapter 3. As of right now, we're in Old Site chapter 2 here. And we see we got a Bino pickup from
both of them.
I'm not sure who's on the right. Both of them got a Bino.
Mhm.
I needed who's left and right here. We got Jerky on the left. There we are. Okay.
Jerky on the left, yes, Xenoras on the right. And I don't honestly with this board, I really don't think we're gonna see a resort skip. There's a lot of stuff in there that they might
So we had huge mess route, resort B side, blue and red
Stun
heart
Oshiro.
and resort. Stun Oshiro 10 times, yeah.
Also Pico 8, which they might actually, try to go for.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, so right.
Xenoras missing a couple berries here, which is.
Did he die with some
Maybe
berry?
kind of painful. Yeah, he died with almost like 2 or 3.
Oh, he was
Might
probably
be kinda
going for a 1-up then and canceled that.
Yeah.
It looks like he's actually backing out of chapter 2 here and going for the B side. So he's going to be taking an early route different from MrJerkyJerky, probably because of how he was trying for a 1-up and then failed that, has to go for alternate objectives because he knows he's going to be behind on progress.
For sure.
So one of the mechanics you've been seeing here is these dream blocks. In terms of speed related to them, you can do these things where you jump out the other end of a dream block, called just a dream jump. But then there's also dream double jumps. And then, as mentioned before, where you can combine your dash and jump, you can actually do that as you exit a dream block to get a big boost of speed forward, called a dream hyper. So you might see a little bit of that, more so in the later chapters Summit than here, but there is a lot of interesting movement that goes into it.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is just seeming to be what's going to be like a very, very late first objective pickup because we're already 5 minutes in here and there's still nothing that they've grabbed.
Yeah.
in terms of an actual objective. This is a bit unusual in that regard. Usually you see at least 1 or 2 things early game enough. And I suppose you could have seen 2 optional Theo cutscenes from MrJerkyJerky, but he's just gone straight ahead to resort here, probably seeing the same thing you mentioned earlier, Gus, about how you have a lot of objectives in there.
Right. It does look like so shoot. Well, so it looks like Jerky is trying to get as much progress in resort as possible. Since he's not going for the B side, he's not going for 2B. He's a little farther ahead in time, since 2B tends to be a little longer than going for just 2A.
Yeah, grabbing the cassette and then going through the rest of 2B is definitely going to take a little bit of extra time here.
Ooh, kind of a long death for Xenoras there.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. Got through most of the switches room and didn't quite make it out the other end. What I'm wondering is how Xeno is going to start picking up objectives here, leaving resort and instead spending all this time in an earlier B side.
Yeah, I think I would say if he manages to get a lot of progress, or if he manages to go really fast in 3A somehow, he can maybe look for progress later, because there are also a lot of objectives late. He does go for the assist skip on 3A though, because I'm assuming he's just realized that since Jerky has a big advantage since he went for 2B, it might be optimal to just skip 3A altogether and go rush for progress.
Yeah, and that's what he's done. Just now, we saw Xenoras using his assist skip, his one for the match, and he's entered Chapter 4, Golden Ridge, already here. So he's skipping ahead to there, while we see MrJerkyJerky heading through the huge mess section here, which should be getting him the huge mess objective for the routing there. One, it's like the top middle. You got huge mess towels to chests to books. Huge mess is split up into each of those 3 parts, and it is a little bit different in terms of the platforms and everything, depending what order you take. So he's having an objective to take an order that's a little bit unusual.
Very good level design, by the way.
Oh yeah, Huge Mess is a super interesting checkpoint. Really love the resort chapter for that. Oh, and we saw Xeno dying with 4 berries just now in start.
That's real rough. He was... It didn't... Wait... Is there a... I thought I saw... 1-up and 4A in this board, but I guess not.
There isn't all collectibles in 4A, so he was trying to probably get the 1-up to contribute to that, and just the 25 berries and 1-up in 2 chapters. It's unfortunate neither of them have that yet, though. You would have hoped at least Chapter 2 and Chapter 4 for Xeno, but execution has just not been working out so great for him. We do see 3 Bino pickups already from Xenoras, though. So he does have 3 binos from separate chapters, which will get him a decent bit towards the 1 binocular, by the way. So when we say binos, we are referring to binoculars. So it does get him decent progress towards 1 bino and 5.
For sure. He does also go for the cassette to look for, of course, the collectibles. But he could also be he could also use that to push towards his 2A sides and 2B sides if he really wants to go for it. Provided he already went for 2B as well, so it could really come in handy later.
I'm not sure that would be the best play right now. Were you saying Golden Ridge B side right off there?
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like that would be too long of something to go for at this moment when he probably wants to try and push through Ridge a little bit more quickly while getting the collectibles. Now we see the first tick off of the game, now 1-0 for MrJerkyJerky, having gotten the huge mess routing. So that was just the routing through the checkpoint. Now he's going to be heading up to Elevator Shaft here. I hope he picks up the Theo cutscene because it's relatively quick up here. Speeds right through it, actually.
Hands are not doing it.
This is just surprising that we have a match now with 10 minutes in already and only 1 thing ticked. That's something that's just overall going to be really unusual.
Xenoras going for completing Chasm without dashing.
Hmm?
That is an objective that I haven't seen before. Or wait a minute.
Not Chasm without dash. This is Shrine without dashing. Both of them are on the board, though.
Sorry, my bad.
That's funny to me, though, that
My bad.
you don't actually really see both of them there. too often. I mean, really, you don't see either of them too often, I don't think.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't go
At
for
the
those
same time, though.
because they're kind of slow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, dashless objectives in general are going to be a little bit harder and more awkward. I know people that play bingo will typically have a lot of practice with dashless city, but shrine, very short checkpoint, is a little bit weird if you haven't tried it before, though. Thankfully,
For
Xeno
sure.
does have the practice for it. And we got Jerky now going for the bops on Mr. Oshiro back in Resort. Wondering, what's the advantage for Xeno here being this far ahead into Chapter 4 and then probably through Chapter 5? What are the objectives he should be picking up soon here?
Well, of course, there's a lot of stuff that he could do in. There's a few things that he could do in 6A. That he could look for a Kevin block from all four sides. He could also be looking to pick up the cassette. There's a chance we might see Revel's nonsense here. Maybe. I really hope we do, because I love that strat so much. But, hey, can only hope.
He might do it for the fans. We'll have to see. And we see the second tick of the game. We got Stun Oshiro 10 times ticked off for MrJerkyJerky. So we have Xeno hiding his shrine without dashing, probably because he knows Jerky has no idea where he is.
Right.
Since there's no board indication. Again, the players cannot see what the other person is up to whatsoever except for what they've ticked off on the bingo board. So with those tick-offs, Xeno will know that Jerky is in Resort, but Jerky has no idea where Xeno is.
Right. And what do you
So
think?
it's
What do you think
information
Jerky goes
advantage
for
for
here?
Xeno.
What do you think Jerky
he
can
goes
do
for?
here after spending so much time in 3A?
What I'm wondering is what his assist skip choice is going to be, and he's considering Ridge right now, but I would be
Ooh.
thinking that you'd instead want to maybe skip Chapter 5 up ahead after getting the cassette, which is a funny thing to say, but I see it as possibly viable up here.
It does unlock 6A and 7A if you do that, yes?
Yeah, if you skip Mirror Temple, you will unlock Chapter 6 and 7 at the same time. So that's another thing about the bingo mod to facilitate playing bingo here. You unlock both Chapters 6 and 7 at the same time after beating Chapter 5, or just skipping it, whichever you're going for. It looks like we got Jerky going for the start 1-up in Chapter 4 here now. So he will hopefully be able to get the first 1-up of the match here. Meanwhile, Xeno heading straight for Mirror Temple cassette, I would bet. And then we have Xeno with his complete shrine without dashing tick off. That one was delayed significantly. He put like an extra 2 minutes on that. So if he's able to deceive Jerky some more here, he might be able to convince Jerky to be taking some routing that would be a little bit detrimental to him. But I'm not sure what exactly that would entail in terms of, making things harder for MrJerkyJerky.
For sure.
What big advantage can he get out of hiding that just now? And for so long?
That's actually a good question. I don't know.
I mean, aside from just hiding his position,
hard to tell. Right.
I think that might just be the only major advantage, though, because with that timing of the tick-off, if Jerky assumes it happens, or the tick-off was right when the actual objective was taken, then as far as Jerky knows, Xeno is still in the same chapter as him here, and not that far ahead.
Right.
But we do see Xeno going for Mirror Temple cassette now. What are the berry counts looking like here right now?
We're gonna find out soon.
I think we were seeing Jerky with somewhere.
Jerky
okay,
has
there's
12 currently. Yeah.
Xeno probably has not picked up very many at all, except a couple of fast berries, since the times he went for berries were mostly 1-ups that went a little bit Ori for him, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Xeno here trying to go for that fast heart, very hard trick.
Oh, that's Jerky. Yeah.
Or yes, Jerky. Sorry.
No worries. Giving up on it. I don't quite blame him.
I know. Yeah, that strat kind of sucks.
It's so precise. It gets very difficult. What you're doing is you have to get like a horizontally, almost pixel perfect up dash, buffered wall bounce, which is one of the things combining a dash and a jump there, into kicking off of the very corner of a wall, just to like barely reach the heart. because normally you're not supposed to reach it at all without using the little reference that is the Super Mario Brothers 3 block in the background. But he ended up having to use it.
Ooh. Xeno hitting that first try Bubs drop.
So what we just saw from Xenoras there was a skip called Bubs Drop in Chapter 5, which is really most commonly known for any %, and the fact that it saves 25 to 30 seconds by doing some really funny little tiny jump and going back through a transition you're not supposed to be able to go back through. And it gives you a little opportunity for a death warp to get really far ahead in that level. So he just got a nice 25-30 second save right there on first try. And there we have Xeno.
Bino.
Yeah, 1 Bino in 5 chapters. I believe we saw Jerky going for that before as well. No, wait, no, not quite.
Jerky picked up, I think, 1 or 2 Binos, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
no, he was not committing too much to that.
Not really.
And Xeno, yeah, I remember now. Xeno got his Bino pickups pretty much at every chance he had. Chapters 2A, 2B, Ridge were his first 3, and then immediately grabbing more up into Chapter 5. So we got it at 3-2 now. A bit of a quick turnaround, and because of the tick-offs by Xeno in Mirror Temple, Cassette, and the 1 Bino in 5, Jerky has a very big clue that Xeno has a lot more progress than he might have known from before with that late Shrine tick-off.
Third cassette here being picked up by Jerky. And it doesn't look like he's gonna go straight into the straight into 1B.
Now I'm wondering what his play will be here. I think we're seeing Xeno go for... Yeah, we got Xeno heading for another 1-up here at the start of City. And Jerky probably just grabbing some fast berries while he's there. I'm not entirely certain, though. I'm wondering if either of them are going to go for Chasm without dashing relatively soon here, because it's not the worst objective, but if you don't have a strong grasp of the lineups, it can get to be problematic. Because doing it without a dash, there are a lot of really precise jumps that you have to do to get through, since, you know, the game is intending you to use your dash. They did set it up to make sure that completion was possible without dash in Chapter 1, but it's still very, very crazy. So then we get a 1-up from Xenoras, rather.
It's definitely not, yeah, the 1A without dashing is definitely not a very easy thing to do.
Oh yeah, no, it takes
You
quite a
have to
bit
have
of
a very,
practice.
very good grasp of movement, for sure.
I'm wondering what we're going to be seeing heading into more mid-game here. It's funny to call it mid-game, but since it's only 3-2, but it feels like that because of how long this is just headed along. Yeah, this is just
Right.
so much slower on the objectives than I would have expected.
Mm-hmm.
So one's coming up. Okay, the fact that 2 Theo cutscenes hasn't been touched yet is
Yeah, I honestly...
a little bit confusing to me, considering how quickly that could be done. 25 berries I'd hope to see soon as well. And then Xeno
Jerky
probably
here.
with 1-up and 2.
Jerky finally ends up picking up the sniping the 4th cassettes before Xeno can. Xeno's at 3 cassettes, and I thought he would go for the 4th, but I guess not.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a 1-up from Jerky now, though. So that could be contesting.
Oh, they're
the
racing for
1-up
1-ups.
and 2 race. Yeah, I
Ooh.
believe both of them have a 1-up already.
Yeah.
So it's whoever
That's
gets
right.
this next berry the fastest. We got 4 for Jerky and 5 for Xeno.
Oh man.
Xeno just
There
needs
it
one
is.
more berry.
Is he
here.
gonna take off immediately? There it is. Snipes it.
Immediate tick off. That was super close right there.
Oh, wow.
Oh well, actually Jerky did not quite have a berry lined up. His routing was a little bit confusing.
Mhm.
Still though, that
must
that
have
was
been really
pretty close.
upsetting.
Yeah, it's not fun to be all the way through an objective, just about to finish it, then see it ticked off right as you're getting to the finish line effectively.
Mm-hmm.
Just some lucky
And-
timing by Xeno. And this is getting us to 4-4 now. So this seems pretty even, and I think it also just is pretty even at the moment. And Xeno actually picking up the 25 berries before Jerky, so going for all those 1-ups over time there. Got it so he could grab that a little bit more quickly.
Really added up nicely for him, yeah.
What I'm wondering is where they're going to start heading at this point. because they could, MrJerkyJerky with his lack of progress kind of has to stick to earlier game objectives. It looks
sure.
like Xeno's going to be heading through the rest of. Wait a minute, did he not?
Oh, he didn't grab the checkpoint. Oh, that's really sad.
no!
Oh, that's really big time loss. So what happened here was Xeno decided to return the map after some progress in 5B, and it looks like he didn't actually grab the checkpoint that he wanted to. That way, he has to go back and do more of the stage than he would originally have to if he just grabbed the checkpoint and then returned to map.
Maybe he was trying a 1 Bino in 5 chapters rush and then decided to go
Oh.
back for earlier stuff though. I do know
Maybe.
that he grabbed the Bino in 5B. That was
Right.
That was the binocular he got for his one of his later ones, but I think his 5th.
And also here we see Jerky going for the optional Theo cutscenes finally.
That's an easy enough pickup, so that's again bringing us to 5-5. This is very even at the moment. I am excited for how this is going to be looking ahead from here. Alright, so what are the early game objectives here that we could see Jerky going for while Xeno's getting progress?
I don't. It's hard to say because him having no idea of what. Oh, he's going for Pico 8.
5 berries and
Oh.
Pico. It is very quick.
Very fast. Yes.
Very viable choice because he did actually play Resort. But he should know, I feel, that Xeno actually hasn't touched Resort whatsoever. So this is a little bit of a strange choice to me because this should be a free objective he can save for later.
Right.
Instead of having to go for it now. I suppose an objective is better than no objective, though. Meanwhile, we
Very
got
true.
Xenoras. Ooh, having some trouble in the falling room there. Got almost to the very end.
That's upsetting.
Yeah, he's heading through 5B.
I don't like that.
Infamous in 80% because that one trick mentioned earlier, the Death Warp Bubs drop. If you miss it, you pretty much have, at the higher level, failed your run at that point, just because it's so much time. You can thankfully restart from the checkpoint, and it will only be about 10 seconds slower, but it's still something you don't want to miss first try on from how much time it is. What do we see Jerky going for next here then?
He's going into
Mirror Temple.
5A. Interesting.
I would think he needs to at this point to at least
Right.
have the chance to contest some of the objectives in Summit. We got berries in 1000 and 3000, but that's much later on. Grabless Rock Bottom also much later, I'd say.
Right.
What else? Well,
It's
does
very
this
hard
really
for
need
me
to be later game?
Yeah.
I don't think so here.
I think there's enough objectives to where Jerky could be just going for straight up only early game. Because he could still be going for collectibles in 4A. He could still be going for 40 berries, which is definitely an option, especially with him in 5A right now, because 5A has a lot of berries. We could also see him going for 3B, which very interesting choice it would be because he has the Celestial Resort B-side option. He has the blue and red heart in Celestial Resort, which I don't think he grabbed the blue heart, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I don't think I saw that happen. And there we get the 2A and 2B sides completion from Xenoras with his finishing of 5B there. So that's just another option taken away from MrJerkyJerky here. And the fact that Xeno has access to the summit objectives and a lead on the berries and for 40 berries, that just makes it so that he has a lot more choices here. And Jerky is pretty much stuck with his resort objectives unless he's getting some progress. So I think we're going to have to see Jerky speeding through 5B as fast as he can here. He just grabbed the cassette. So he really needs this progress to have a chance.
Now I am hoping that we get to see so we see the Kevin block from 4 sides, by the way, ticked off by Xenoras. But I am really hoping that we get to see Revo's nonsense. But I don't think we're going to.
Yeah, no, he just wanted that quick Kevin block
really
grab, and he's
upset.
heading back into city now. Oh, dashless chasm. Okay, so I'm happy to see that for Xeno. But this is looking worse and worse for Jerky with every second spent here. Xeno's getting all the really quick pickups, and Jerky is just kind of getting left in the dust. Hopefully, Jerky will have a chance to get back into this, getting this progress fast enough to then contest the summit objectives. Because he really needs to contest the summit objectives.
For sure.
I don't see there's much other way for him to get to gain the opportunity here to win this match if he doesn't go for it. If he sees the Chasm dashless tick off, that should be an indication that Xeno didn't really head into Summit immediately. So he should have an idea that it's contestable if that happens. And I also feel like Xeno does not have the chance to delay the dashless Chasm here either.
He is struggling a little bit though. He's been in that room for quite a while now.
Oh yeah, this room's very, very awkward without an exact lineup.
Oh yeah, for sure. That tiny spike jump is
There it
very
is.
hard to hit.
Okay, he should be able to get through the rest of it there. That one jump though.
Ooh,
oh no!
that's really rough.
Falling at the very end. That is rough.
Ah.
Yeah, the one jump, what you're seeing him do here that's difficult, he has to jump at a corner with spikes on the top and on the side of it. And there's just this super tiny amount of space you can jump off of that corner and live that you have to aim for. If you're using some super precise like wall lineup and a buffer jump, you can do it pretty consistently. But he's kind of just having to fling himself at it for now, which is causing him some trouble with this objective.
I am finding it very interesting that Xeno chose to go for 1A instead of just trying to rush objectives in the later stages of the game. Because he has that much advantage to the point where he could theoretically just go and win, pretty much.
And yeah, I agree with that. I feel like he should know that those objectives are not really available to Jerky just because of all the time spent in Resort and just those earlier takeoffs. However, getting earlier lockouts makes it so there's kind of a balance in how much you can grow your lead. Because if you have Xeno able to lock out some of the early game objectives and then leave that and head for taking advantage of his progress lead in Summit, then he's kind of doing everything he can to make it totally unwinnable for Jerky. Just this dashless Chasm, though, having taken as long as it did, makes it very possible that this is going to be a lot closer.
Yeah, it definitely starts to become not very worth it at some point. And
Okay,
looks like
can we get a
Jerky's
pause
game crashed.
Let's see here, Xeno. Yeah. Oh, okay.
it's
We had a
back.
game crash from Jerky. That was very strange.
Okay. Well, if we're back, we're back.
Yep.
Keep it going, fellas.
All right. I think Xenoras should be getting back into the game here, as we saw
Yeah.
Jerky finishing up. Yeah, that was strange. His game just like totally froze or something, but it came right back to where he was.
No,
I've never actually seen that before.
Hey, me neither, but happens.
Minor complication. Pretty much resuming about even because Xeno did take a 20-second pause or so. So I like the fair play coming out for that. And we see Xeno heading into Summit now. Meanwhile, Jerky heading for the Chapter 2 Blue Heart here, having to do some funny stuff related to screen transitions, where if you pass a screen transition, you'll get your dash back. So you can kind of just dash back and forth infinitely. And it's the intended way that the devs actually set up to get the heart. Really interesting mechanic going on there.
Yeah, Celeste this game adopts really a really cool development philosophy that everything is intended, and I absolutely love that.
There are, of course, a couple things we take advantage of, like any speedrunner would, that were not initially intended. But what I love most about it is that some of the interesting things that were found, including a particular tech called a demo dash, were actually kind of adopted and, brought into the game in a way by the developers. A demo dash is when you're getting a horizontal dash with a crouched hitbox. It's basically you get it set up so you're dashing down initially, but you change your dash direction immediately after pushing the button. And that makes it so you have a crouched hitbox dashing sideways, and it lets you fit through tiny gaps. And then the devs actually included that in the final update of the game, the Farewell DLC. Very cool of them to bring that into the game in a more appreciating what speedrunners have done and bringing it more into the game.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and we got a tick off there from Jerky on the core berry there. We just saw ice skip from him. I had not realized at the moment, but ice skip, that was one of the most impressive skips you can see in all red berries. You start in the chapter of the core and you kind of speed from that one core block all the way across 2 screens to grab a berry you're not intended to get immediately.
Of course, and it uses a mechanic that's really, really difficult to pull off called a core hyper, which basically is after when exiting a core block, the game treats as if you're standing on a platform for just a couple of frames, and you can use those frames to do a hyper dash off of it. And then it combos the hyper dash momentum with the block momentum, and that creates the core hyper, which just gives you ridiculous amounts of speed.
Alright, we see Jerky grabbing some more berries here at the start of 0 meters. So it seems he's still got a hope held out for 40 berries. Hopefully that'll be able to work out for him, but
Ooh.
the fact that we see Xeno going ahead here all the way through 500 meters. Oh, with a nasty death there. Yeah. If hopefully Jerky will actually be able to catch up and contest a little bit in terms of the summit berries, but the fact that Xeno is so far ahead here is making me think that he'll have such a huge advantage on these berry objectives that this might be unrecoverable for
Yeah,
Jerky.
Xeno just picked up his 32nd berry, so he's getting really close.
Yeah,
He also did
berries.
clear the 6 berries in 1,000 meters, which was one of the objectives as well.
Oh, that's not quite what he's done
Wait.
yet. He was in 500.
Yeah, he
meters,
marked it, but yeah, right.
I think he might have just realized. He did grab every berry in 500, but not quite the right place to be. Wrong meter
But I'm
mark.
assuming he's going to go for it anyway. Yeah, he's still going to go for the
Mhm.
1,000 meter berries as well.
Yeah, I
'Cause
think
regardless-
Jerky- Oh, go ahead.
Regardless, it still gives him some progress towards the 40 berries that he's trying to achieve anyway. So, and maybe I'm fingers crossed. Do we get to see Revo's nonsense, please?
I would be surprised, but again, they
He
might
did go for
it
ice
the
skip, so
fans.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be that surprised anymore.
They are kind of on a different level of difficulty, I believe. But
We can only hope.
It's possible. We can only hope, yeah. So what we're talking about now, Revo's Nonsense, is this famously difficult skip to grab the cassette tape in Chapter 6 with
What?
incredible speed from a Kevin block.
No way,
And
please.
we're seeing it
Please,
here.
Jerky.
Come on. Oh,
Ah,
unfortunate.
man.
We got an
Go,
attempt at the alternative, Scott's sensibility as it's known, but that didn't quite work out for him either. It's alright. Bingo is, after all, about consistent speed, and Revel's Nonsense is anything but consistent, so I don't blame him whatsoever.
Absolutely. I wanted to see the attempt at least, and we got half of that, so I'm happy. I'm kind of happy. And he's
Yeah.
going for 6B, which is kind of surprising.
Yeah, I'm wondering what
'Cause he got some
can really
progress
get
in
out of
Summit.
this. There is 6B side, so he's probably trying to do that and maybe Grabless Rock Bottom at the same time. But Xeno now grabbing all berries in the 1,000 meters brings the score to 9-7 here, with the 3,000 meter berries available to him, Summit Blue Heart available to him, 40 berries available to him. That's
I'm also
3
quite
more
sure
objectives.
that Xeno also has a lot more progress in the collectibles in 4A if he wants to go back and do that.
Oh yeah, so that's 4 objectives there. That would get him to 13, and that would close out the game for him if he can pick up every single one. And it looks like he's going to be heading back for all collectibles 4A. So that
Take
was a
40
good
berries.
call. Yeah, I am curious to see if Jerky goes for Grabless Rock Bottom here in 6B, because I have not personally seen that before.
No, me neither.
I
That'd
do
be
know...
that'd be very scary.
Oh yeah. Thinking about Rock Bottom, it is the shortest checkpoint in 6B, so it's not the worst.
But
in
it's
that
still
regard,
6B.
But it's still 6B. That is very true, and it's got all these awkward places that you have to know specific strats for to get through Grabless, thinking it over.
Right.
Xeno with all berries in 1,000 and 40 berries, bringing it up to 10. Oh yeah, he already had the 1,000 meters berries. But yeah, he's gotten 10-7 now. And to close this out, he just has to finish up those couple objectives that we mentioned. He has a pretty clear win condition if he just goes for his 2 summit objectives and his all collectibles 4A, but I'm seeing him in City right now.
He's going for it looks like he's going for 2 chapters grabless, which is interesting.
Oh yeah, that's true. So I think that makes a decent bit of sense if he wants to lock Jerky out just a little bit more.
Yeah.
But the fact that he hasn't gone for a grabless chapter quite yet is a little bit strange to me that he's doing it now. Because that is an objective that can be done pretty decently early game. So I would expect, from Xenoras' point of view, I would expect an attempt at 2 grabless chapters from Jerky.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I think
personally,
if I were Xeno in this situation, I would just actually rush collectibles in 7A instead. Since I was already there. But I mean, I don't know how good a play that would be.
I don't think that's the best option, because if you're having a lead, you're probably going to want to try and multitask at least a little bit.
Of course.
Because that really secures the fact that you have that lead. You can take it all the way to the end with you if you just multitask and make it so that your opponent can't possibly lock you out of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So he's gotten 1 chapter grabless now, and it looks like he's going to go for 2 in a row. If I was in his position, I would probably just grab City grabless and then continue with all collectibles in 4A. And if that somehow gets locked out for me, I could head back. But yeah, this is still a decent choice. It just depends how his thoughts are related to, is Jerky going for any grabless?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and we see Jerky going to turn on grabless here in Russian. They remembered which option it was in the menus. They were checking it up before the match here, because Russian language, we're not exactly too used to reading that for this.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, starting to encounter some difficulty already with having to do grabless here.
Yeah, it's not gonna be too
such
easy.
a weird checkpoint. He's figuring it out though, getting it piece by piece. And we got grabless from both of them at the moment. Is there any chance that you can see Jerky coming back into this for a lead?
I'm gonna be honest, not really.
Well,
it's really rough because
let's assume that everything goes right for him. Does he have a chance though in that regard?
Well, he does.
What objectives can he get here?
He does have. Well, shoot. He does have. He's going for the Reflection B-side plus Grabless Rock Bottom, which will put him to 9. And let's say that Xeno just takes forever to complete 2A Grabless here, and doesn't take anything for the next, I don't know, 6 minutes. He could potentially look to. Jerky could potentially look to finish his collectibles in 4A, because he did pick up like a set and some berries.
That would probably be what would work best for him. If he was able... Yeah, okay, so what Jerky needs to do to win at this point would probably be get these 2 objectives, 6 B-side, Grabless Rock Bottom. He has his resort objectives, presumably for free.
He definitely has a lot of progress in Resort, which he could use to his advantage. I don't know if he has the cassette for it. I'm pretty sure he does, but I could be wrong.
If not, he at least has Elevator Shaft unlocked.
Right.
So I like this decision.
Anyway.
We see Jerky heading into Summit now.
Ooh.
Because the only way, looking on the amount of objectives that each of these players has, the only way Jerky can get back into this game is from lockouts. He has to lock out some of the choices available to Xenoras, pardon me, or else he's just stuck. And there we have 2 chapters grabless from Xenoras, so he just needs 2 more objectives.
Mm-hmm.
And that means probably he's just going to go straight for Summit.
And he's going to rush into Summit, yeah.
The issue with that here...
Oh
yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I had totally forgotten. Go right ahead.
So a couple of things we just want to mention really quick is Bingothon, thank you for that raid coming in for the stream. And while we haven't had a donation recently, I did also want to share that November 13th to 19th is Transgender Awareness Week for this year, and November 20th marks the Transgender Day of Remembrance. So we here are proud to be putting on this event in the hope of raising community awareness of the issues facing transgender and gender non-conforming people. So thank you and everyone for joining us in supporting Trans Lifeline.
Trans rights.
Yeah, thanks a lot for putting all this on for them, guys. Really appreciate it. Very cool of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you guys have definitely put on a lovely show here.
Yeah, and I'm happy to be a part of it here. Okay,
Absolutely.
let's see. What's up next for us now? Or is there anything more to read, just to make sure?
Nope, go right ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. Alright, so yeah, we're getting a race here into Summit now, because as I believe has been mentioned in chat a little bit by some of our Celeste community friends, the only real way for Jerky to get back into this is to find a way to lock Xenoras out of some of these Summit objectives. Like, the opportunities he could go for is rush to either All Berries in 3000 or Summit Blue Heart.
Which he's going for right now.
I don't think in his position I would think I can get both, just because I would expect Xeno to be going for both of them at the same time, which would slow him down, as opposed to the fact that Jerky can think about that and then try and just pick one that will be faster, to make it so that Xeno no longer has a super clear win condition. Because yeah,
it might be really rough.
Here. Oh, go ahead.
Might be really rough for Jerky to pick up his space because since Xenoras is already a whole section ahead of him.
Yeah, there is an entire checkpoint of difference between the two of them, which is why I'm thinking his only real chance here is probably. I'm still not sure, honestly, because Xeno doesn't have to pick up any more berries, and he already grabbed the crystal, the gem for the summit gem for 2,000 meters and everything before that. I'm pretty certain.
Well, no, he just finished doing it. Yeah, just now.
Yeah, so that makes this a hard position to be in for Jerky for sure. Just the lead that Xeno has here in Summit, even if he doesn't know it, is almost what looks like to be insurmountable. I hope that Jerky is able to get by here, and we'll see this become a little bit tighter of a race. That would probably need to have some significant errors on the part of Jerky, or on the part of Xeno, though.
He is quite good. He's quite good at the game, though, so I wouldn't count on it.
Yeah, he has been playing decently consistently here in Summit. Looks like he's gotten a solid rhythm going. I feel like there isn't too much chance for Jerky to get back, but you know, you always got to hope for the underdog to get some footing. Always want to see a tighter race if possible.
But since they are both going for Jerky ignores the wait. He's not going for the he is going for the crystal, it looks like. So that's the thing. If Jerky, it looks like Jerky's trying to go for both of the summit objectives. Or the collectibles, both the blue heart and the berries, potentially. We could potentially maybe see him go for the berries as well, but that puts him at a disadvantage because again, Xenoras is just farther ahead, and he'll just get to 3,000 faster, and he's already got the gems advantage. So I think Jerky's kind of digging himself a grave here.
He really had no other choice because. Right. Xeno at 11, and then these two next objectives, Summit Blue Heart and 3,000 meters, brings him to 13. So, like, the only way that Jerky had any chance here is to try and contest this. This is just the only choice he has at this point in time.
Right.
Where did things go wrong for that to have happened earlier on in the match? I'd say one of the most major early points was when the progress lead and all the hidden objectives were going on early on for Xeno, where he got the shrine without dashing tick after he was already like a minute and a half, 2 minutes ahead of that, which might have thrown Jerky off a little bit. And just like the general progress advantage. But what do you feel were some of the turning points here?
Well, I feel as though correct me if I'm wrong, please, but I feel like Jerky didn't utilize his early game advantage to his full potential because he didn't like clear out a bunch of early game stuff that he could have done earlier. And he just ended up like not doing anything with all the advantage in 3A he had.
Yeah, so let's look back at the history of the ticks here in the bingo board as we see Xeno heading in to get the Summit Blue Heart here. When we look back earlier, first things to get ticked were huge mess routing and 10 Oshiro stuns. But then very quickly after that, Xeno started getting some pickups in the later on in the game with the, let's see, Shrine Without Dashing, Mirror Temple Cassette, and then 1 Bino in 5 chapters. like one after the other after the other. And then I feel like there should be it's hard to say. It's really hard to say. I want to feel like there's some turning point to look for, but I am finding it difficult to think through what exactly that might have been here.
I think it was just altogether kind of better routing from Xenoras and better execution. Might have been the kickers, but
it has been close for a solid bit of this. I think
sure.
the big difference was the 3A skip for Optica. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good point you got there.
Oh yeah, wait.
Because we saw Jerky taking a lot of time in resort, but then not being able to use that to his advantage by picking up all the early game objectives, and then like carrying that through. I feel, generally speaking, that progress just worked out better for Xeno because he picked everything up as quickly as he needed to.
Yeah, his execution was most, or just in general, pretty good.
Yeah, I feel... Not quite sure where I was going with that. No worries, though. Yeah, we're
Because I
seeing...
still see the blue and red heart and Celestial Resort still jump out at me, which are things that he could have done, because that also combos with Resort B-side, that also would combo with the cassettes, plus some other B-side stuff that he could have gone potentially for.
Yeah, but what I'm seeing with that is he should have known that those objectives were free to him because of the fact that Xeno never showed his face in Resort. So even at this point in the match, you still wouldn't want to go for them until you have that as a win condition. So because of the fact that you knew Xeno never entered Resort, you should be able to save most of those till the very end to like secure a win condition, and then while you know you have those safe, you should be trying to shut off Xeno from his, which is exactly what he wound up doing here. It's just the difference in how far they were through Summit was too much by the time the lead was apparent, I guess, for Jerky.
Yeah, I guess I hadn't seen it that way before. But no, you're absolutely right. It is going to be the final berry here from 2,000 meters being picked up by Xenoras soon.
Having a bit of a struggle, though, with the crumble block. Didn't quite get the dash direction he wanted, I think. But it is right up ahead here, and Jerky is a little bit too far to catch up at this point, being at the beginning of Updraft, the section before Xeno, and we have the berry collect coming in here now.
And he will instantly take it, and GG. It is game over, and Xenoras takes the win.
13-8. Good game.
Very good game. Great effort from both players.
Let's see if we can get them in here to talk about that a little bit. Is that something that we'll be doing here? Or will we be moving pretty quickly ahead to the next race for farewell? Alright, let's see if we can get him in here to talk a little bit then.
GG.
GG's, you know.
GG's.
There we are, Jerky. How did you guys feel about that match?
Honestly, I was so damn confused by this board.
Yeah, the routing was hard on this one. Like, a lot of the stuff was late game, so I think the first ticked objective was like, what, 5-10 minutes?
Order, followed by
first objective tick was like 6 minutes in. Yeah, it was pretty
very long.
This was awful, to be honest.
Yeah,
I literally
it was just
had
an
no
unfortunate
plan what
board
to
generation.
I had no plan what to do whatsoever until I got into Ridge. Because at that point I knew Jerky was in 3A because of his huge mistake, and then I had kind of an idea what to do. But until that point I was just confused.
Yeah, I
These-
honestly felt the same way. Looking at the stuff from the early game, we're like, okay, what's the fastest objective? Wait, what's the
Yeah.
fastest objective?
Fastest
Where do
objective
we
Chasm
go?
berries. Chasm
was
berries,
all
of course.
chasm berries, and that's the main
Oh, no.
objective, 'cause you,
Chasm
yeah,
berries.
you never take that early.
Oh, that would have been yes, not the best choice for sure. But yeah, I feel the biggest turning point from our perspective, looking at you guys playing that, it was discussed a little bit near the end of the match. There was again the fact that Xeno went for the assist skip on Resort entirely. Like, sure, it was decently packed with objectives, but after that skip, he had such a train, like a huge chain of objectives waiting for him through progress.
Yeah,
It was just so hard to read this board and like trying to go along with it from there, because you
Yeah.
would see Resort and be like, oh wow, there's a lot in Resort. It's just that limits you to early game usually if the other player goes
Yeah.
ahead with progress.
going through prologue, I wasn't sure whether to skip 3 or not, but I decided to try with 3, but it didn't work out.
Yeah, I had the same thought, but I decided against. Because
There are a couple of
what
close
got me
lockouts
into
in there as
Rich
well.
was that I saw that I could do a 1-up there, which kind of synergizes with all collectibles. And I actually didn't even see complete shrine without dashing until I got there.
Yeah,
But
one
3
thing I
was not
noticed.
stacked enough to be better than Rich, because it just takes a lot of time.
I feel bad for you about those 1-up attempts early on, Xeno. That was
Dude,
Oh,
I was
not going your
so
way.
nervous. I was so confused by this board and I had no idea what to do, so I just went for something, and I wasn't confident about that at all, because I was wondering, is it worth to invest the time here to get a 1-up? And then I even failed, so I was even more nervous and upset. It was just a down spiral, like my complete chasm without dashing attempt. I tell you, I was so
Oh,
close
man.
to screaming, because this is actually not hard. This is the easiest part of chasm without dashing, or 1A without dashing, and I couldn't do it for like a minute straight.
It was
Oh, I
just
so numb.
unfortunate there. Yeah,
Yeah, that one room.
double spike corner jump you had to go for over. It just really was not the best time for you watching that. Yeah, I felt it. I felt it.
I mean, the rest was okay, but this one. So, did I lock you out of something, Jerky?
The main one was 1-ups, because I was just about to.
Oh yeah,
fall
that
You
was a
guys were
tied race.
racing 1-ups. Yeah, that was really
Mhm.
really close.
you were both in
Boy.
chapter 2 for the 1-up at the end, right? Wait, no.
No, it was,
Sorry, we had
uh,
Jerky at chapter 2
Xenoras
and
was
Xeno
in
at chapter 4.
I believe. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I did go to 4 initially. I did cassette and heart, and then I was gonna quit out and go to 5, but you had already ticked stuff in 5, so I went back and did early objectives. But I got a 1-up in the first pass.
Did we
In full.
race for Tempo Cassette?
No.
No,
no.
you had a lot
You
more
were much
progress
further ahead.
because
Yeah.
you know when you hid your Shrine Without Dashing?
I think it was about the time when he ticked Oshiro. So I
Yeah.
figured, since he could just skip Rich. No, maybe it
Yeah,
was.
that's what I should have done, to be honest.
Yeah. No,
Catch up
you
on,
were definitely much further ahead on the mirror cassette, on the mirror temple cassette.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was just Jerky wound up spending a lot of time in Resort, and then the progress lead ended up being like almost a minute and a half there. Basically,
okay.
around the time you were picking up the cassette at the beginning, Jerky was barely entering chapter 5, I think.
Yeah, something like
Does that seem right, Gus? It's about that much time difference.
sounds about right, yeah.
Yeah, progress was significantly different by that point in the match.
What about A sides and B sides? Did you attempt a second B
2A
side?
and 2B.
I was gonna do B-sides if. Yeah, I mean, you ticked it off before I got to 5B, basically.
Oh,
So
okay.
He had not done 2B, so you had 1B side done very early on, before Jerky had even touched them.
oh,
Yeah, I wasn't
Yeah,
even
yeah,
sure
Xeno
about
did
that
do
one.
two.
It actually turned out pretty nicely.
okay.
It did.
Mhm.
Luckily
Yeah,
for me.
it ended up working out for you.
It's very nice
That's
because
old meta, that.
it's very nice because
Overall-
since 2B is one of the shortest ones anyway.
Overall, an
Yeah.
interesting match. A weird board.
Very
but it was
weak
still a decently close race
Definitely
for quite a
fun.
while. So yeah, that was a
It was
fun
fun. It was fun. How many berries did you have, Jerky? Because I saw you taking
Oh yeah,
all berries.
I needed 2 more when you ticked 25.
Ah, okay, yeah, I expect that.
And then
Did
I
you
was
try to
sort
get
of
more
gonna
after
go
that?
to. I was gonna go to get to Summit when you ticked off 40, so I was like
Ah, okay.
starting Summit.
Damn.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think we're about happy with the
Yeah.
discussion and everything. So yeah, thank you for having all of us. It was very fun.
Thank you very much.